Welcome to Coffee and Cannabis. I'm your host, Alyza, and this is
Corey, what up?
And today it's your favorite duo. It's just us. We wanted to get back to the basics real quick. Sometimes we want to just vent amongst us too. So before we get into it, Corey, what are we smoking on?
You were smoking on the last of my rainbow sherbet, and I am smoking on Rolly. So, we out here.
All right.
Something different.
What'd you say mine was?
Rainbow sherbet. It basically tastes and smells just like grapefruit.
Yeah, I do taste the grapefruit.
It's a grapefruit.
Yeah, it's really, really strong. It's great, though. And for coffee, we have Little Dove Cafe. So, quick story about them. They're a local coffee shop around the corner from our dispensary. So, make sure you go and show them love here in Jersey City Heights. Woo! This is... Fam, we just started. They are a local coffee shop. When I went in there, they were actually closed, but they were having an event in the back, and one of the owners came to the front, and she was super, super helpful, and she was like, absolutely, you're our neighbors, show you some love, get you guys some coffee after hours. So thank you to them for coming in for us last minute while we film Coffee and Cannabis, and make sure that you go and support them, Jersey City Heights. So let's get into it. Corey, this is good. You get me early. You're normally the one coughing.
Yeah.
This is good.
Well, as you can see, we over here in the upper room in what eventually someday will be our consumption lounge after we blow it out to construction.
Yes.
We're up here because the dispensary is in full construction swing.
Yep. Full.
I mean,
Permits.
Literally hole in the wall.
Got it all.
Hole in the walls, hole in the floor, down to the framing.
Yeah, so the idea was to obviously show you guys as we transform the space, but it's not even really sustainable because our little setup that we have, there's holes in the floor, like Corey just said. So I think what we'll do is maybe add in a little bit of content in the podcast so we can pan so you see what's happening.
Yeah.
But yeah, for now we're upstairs. So.
And if you're from the city, we got all our permits. Leave us alone.
Big facts.
Yeah, them permits took a while, but we got them.
So also, shout out to House Arrest, right? New drip. Hold on, let me turn around real quick. I want to make sure you capture this because this is
All that thigh.
It's all right, boo. My outfit is. What was that thing on Instagram? The outfit, the fit is nuts. The drip is nuts.
No.
I forget who that kid is on TikTok and Instagram.
I'll do
but
that like that quick. Let me get that lighter.
Yeah.
Yeah, so shout out to Droop.
Yeah, so shout out to Droop. My brother Droop Pop, part of the Cokeboys, he got his brand, House Arrest, and it's got the Corey, it's got the streets in a frenzy.
The niggas is running up like I need that.
Yeah, they are they're fucking with House Arrest. So, he got the fits, the caps, the whole nine. So shout out to him. That shit is about to be, that's gonna be the new wave real soon.
Yeah.
So
Actually, talking about drip, I got to run down on Brendan because they got them straight out the mud shirts.
Word, and I did not get one.
He ran out on it. He told me, he was like, dog, we ain't order enough. Shit is crazy. I was like, nah, nigga, I need that.
Yo, but not for nothing. They're selling out of everything.
Yo, shout out to Mud Brothers
I'm
that
so
launched.
proud
My
of
brothers, they launched a couple weeks ago. They doing their thing, putting out quality product, got the quality merch, and, they doing their thing. Big up.
I guess I'm Corey this episode. Shout out to the MSOs doing the good work, the smart work, but making things make sense, right? There's not a lot of MSOs that are taking these sort of chances, and that's, I think, a big part of some of their missed mark because there's some really influential people out here that people want to support, and that their brand is going to thrive. And this was a great example of that. There was no doubt in my mind that they were going to kick. Yeah, we're both fucked up today. Yep. Fuck it. There was no doubt in my mind that they were going to exceed any expectation.
Yep.
And they did, and it sort of sucks that, right? As underserved communities, we have to sort of show and prove a lot of time, right?
Facts.
Really become proof of concept. But we here. And I think that was a great example of proof. So, shout out to my brothers.
Shout out to Cammie, Tanisha, Kate, all the social equity teams at these MSOs. that actually like boots on the ground, be involved. And when it's time for someone to make their own brand or do an event, pop-ups, expungement clinics, whatever, they're the person in the MSO backing that person from the community to help them get that through. So shout out to them. You know what I mean? If you starting your own stuff, you need to know this stuff. You need to know the social equity teams at these different MSOs to help you get started, you know. And then as these independent grows and manufacturing licenses get popping, work with them to, you know, make your brand or do whatever you got to do. But yeah, it's important to understand how the network landscape works. I know everybody's trying to do it independent. Everybody's like anti-MSO, but the MSOs do got extra flour, do got extra bread and whatever laying around to potentially help you get started. So
yeah,
and they have to. That's part of their license with the state.
That's true too.
Yeah,
yep.
so they need to.
That's what I mean. You gotta make it make sense. Like y'all got a lot of opportunity, and like they're not.
Yeah.
Some people are really missing the mark, but they took the right opportunity there, and I think that it's really gonna set the standard.
And doing something different, doing concentrates.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Instead of just doing flour like everybody else. So that's dope.
Corey, I just need to say, and y'all need to know, this has really been sacrificial. Okay.
Yes.
It was fucking 20 degrees in December or January when we first started.
Yep.
Now it's 100 and something. Mm-hmm. Like, I want y'all to know that we're going through a lot for this podcast.
Yo, it is 90 degrees outside and 100 degrees in here.
Yo, if I'm schmelting, I don't want to hear shit in the comments.
Yo, I might have the crazy neck by the end of this real talk.
This is crazy.
Y'all gonna see me wiping my head. I don't care. I am sweating. It is hot as shit.
It is so hot.
I feel fat and sloppy right now.
This is terrible. I shouldn't feel this way because I used to work in the desert. I used to wear a full fucking uniform in 130 degrees with a full kit. Yeah. A rifle, a sidearm, 45 rounds for my sidearm, and 240 rounds. That's probably like 100 pounds of weight.
In the desert.
In the desert.
Yeah.
So a lot of me wants to be like, shut the fuck up, Alyza, don't complain.
No, but fuck that.
But also I'm schmelting.
Listen, I used to wear minks in the summer.
She thought she was Cam?
That nigga. Nah. Yeah, but it's hot as shit.
You was a hot one, though.
I was the hot one. Had my belly out.
Give me the layers. Oh, boy. Tell me, how's your new job going?
Thank you. By the way, watch how you hold the lighter so you don't have certain brands up that don't pay me no more. You know what I'm saying?
Oh.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, Coffee and Cannabis got their own everything now, so that's coming soon. Let's talk about that.
We got the new pans. We got the new rolling trays.
We got rolling trays, we got lighters, we got
merch.
Shirts for Coffee and Cannabis. So that's going to be on the TOSD website really soon. And then we're not going to be using anybody's lighter unless you want to sponsor for us to keep shipping.
I had my Coffee and Cannabis lighter on me today. And as any good smoker knows, someone robbed me. Someone got me, yo.
Somebody else out there got the lighter now.
Yeah, they got the lighter.
I've
been rocking it for a couple weeks, and somebody got me today.
Brand recognition.
Yeah, I got recognized for the first time. Did I tell you that?
At the new job.
Yeah, I'm at the new job doing my VP thug dizzle, and walking around, and one of the new employees, like I didn't know him, was like, "Yo, I know you from somewhere." I'm like, "Okay," and he's like, "Yo, do you do a podcast?"
Oh, got him.
And I'm like, "Yeah, I do a podcast." He's like, "Yo, I love that podcast. That's my shit." And I'm like, "Oh, thank you." That's not me at all. I am being forced to do this podcast.
Corey is a star.
I don't want to be. I am being forced to do this podcast. Alyza likes this shit. I do not want to be on y'all cameras.
It.
This is her shit.
I don't know about like it.
No, I've been out with you and Brennan. This y'all shit. Brennan got drones flying around. You got me walking through doors twice.
Listen, there's a difference when you understand a need.
Uh-huh.
It has nothing to do with like.
Yeah.
It has to do with doing what you have to do to be rich. Right? I hate social media. People go on social media and they don't use it as a business. They go watch people's stories. They go look at whatever. Some people are looking at ass. Some people are looking at a bunch of other, right? It's always a business for me. So I have removed the part of my brain that says like, I don't like this type of thing. I just say this is part of a necessity of this business.
Sounds good. I'm here.
You're part of a necessity of this business, too.
No, I'm just not trying to be seen like that. I be in the back. What that lady said that one time, she was like, yo, you really don't be like up on people, like liking people. I'm like, nah, that's me. I'm like, I'm in the back. I'm good.
But guess what?
What?
People love your face.
No, it is beautiful though.
They love you, Corey.
Yeah, birthday came around, getting 1 year old, got a little gray, some gray coming in now. You know what I mean?
All right, what do I got on today's agenda? You're supposed to tell me about the new job.
Oh yeah, so I started the new gig. It's cool. Commute a little bit more than I necessarily planned for, but that's all right. Just had to get up, work harder, wake up earlier.
That's it.
Some food prep the night before, setting up lunch for myself so I could stop eating out for lunch because that's a bad habit and I don't have time, honestly. And then
I was about to say, you doing a lot. You driving farther, you making
I don't have
lunch.
No, I don't have time. Listen, I'm 2 coffees down by the time I get to work. I'm walking into work with a coffee in my hand like, oh, you got some coffee? I'm like, this is my second coffee. I stopped at the Wawa around the corner, the refill coming in. But yeah, everything's good. Making good products, good people we working with. So I'm thrilled. I'm happy. I'm excited. A lot of work to do. Yeah. I got hired because there's a need. So there's work to do, right? So
but we get in to fix shit.
But we get into it. And I'm happy with what we got coming. It's gonna be some stuff.
Okay.
So I'm good.
Are you excited about what's happening here? I mean, things are starting to finally move along.
I'm excited about everything.
You got lots of excitement. Good things happening. Yeah. We got NECAN coming up. That's going to be dope. Shout out to
that's gonna
that
be
whole
hard.
situation.
That's going to be hard. NECAN's, she's presenting. You speaking, presenting.
Couple. Speaking on a panel, women in cannabis.
Yeah.
Doing a presentation, branding with CSR. I recommend. I'm putting a lot of effort into this presentation because branding is really my thing, and I've always been a community-oriented person. I like to make brands that connect with the community that I serve. So CSR, which is obviously very prevalent now in cannabis, is important for you to get a license, maintain a license, all that good stuff. So for those people who are coming in new to the industry and new to business in general, because this is not just for cannabis, like branding with CSR is important in all business that you want to create. So I think it'll be really informative, and then we'll have a table.
Okay, yeah. I'm not going to be doing none of that.
What you gonna be doing?
I'm gonna be chilling. If there's a way to get outside somewhere, I'm gonna be out there smoking. Or I'm gonna be hitting a vape in the corner where they can't see me. So you might see me walk by. That's about it. I might be at the booth, our table and booth, a little bit.
People are gonna want to come say hi to you in person.
I know, that's why I might be there a little bit. Might be there a little bit. I am just gonna be chilling, walking around, trying to procure good weed.
Yes.
And smoke.
Yep.
And then the after party, rooftop.
I love Corey's priorities.
Yeah.
I'm making sure that you're going to feel wonderful in here, but he's making sure that you're going to feel wonderful when you smoke this. I mean, he picks it, and I'm going to also smoke it because I smoke weed every day.
We're going to have that new merch at it.
He's very, very adamant about quality. So anybody who wants to come and talk to us about these situations, I just want you to know that it's not one of those like, hey, can you just come on our shelves? Like, it's business, and I want to have great quality. And I do know this is the other problem right now. Most people are just selling the same weed as everybody else anyway because everybody's just getting it from the MSOs.
Yeah, but even with that, I think a lot of people, it's similar to, oddly enough, it's similar to liquor stores where depending on what you're selling and how much you sell of it, those wholesalers might give you more opportunity to sell different things. You might work up their priority list on, because sometimes, especially some of the smaller brands, finished good brands, only have so much quantity.
Right.
And after the other MSOs get they cut to put in their stores, and there's a handful left for the independent retailers, they gotta have faith that you can sell the product and that you're getting enough walk-ins through the door that the product is actually going to get, to some extent, promoted being in that store. Otherwise, the other homie around the corner going to get it.
Exactly.
So that's important that, one, your store is doing its thing, is getting a steady stream of buying and developing its buying power. And then that give you leverage to get higher on that list for some of these smaller brands that you can't necessarily buy every time. Your wholesale person come by and you're like, oh, I want this. And they're like, we don't have that. Or you wasn't high enough on the list for it. You
made me think about something that I think we could sort of talk about as a gem. that I think a lot of people don't really know a lot about, like Net 30. Let's go into that a little bit, because I don't think for the people who have never been sort of in retail or CPG, they don't know like what that structure is and how it helps them sustain better business and better relationships. And
Yeah, so net 30 are your that's your payment terms. Net, it could be net whatever. Now, I will say the good thing is the MSOs are trying to work within good faith with a lot of these independent retailers.
In Jersey.
In Jersey.
Okay,
yeah.
it's like a new
I
thing.
can't speak for everywhere,
Right.
but it's hot. But yeah, they're trying to do good. So some of them are giving the net 30 terms so that you're not spending cash money to get your product in. The terms are your terms for payment. So it's about saying, like, if I order product from you, you send it, quote, everything set up, and then I have 30 days to pay, right? So those are terms, and it could be 30, 60, 90, whatever you negotiate. But a lot of times in a lot of other states, these companies are not giving the retailers terms like net 30 terms. So every time you buy product wholesale to get it into your store, before you ever make a dime, you're spending money. So the terms work out for everyone because you get the product kind of on consignment.
Like fronted.
Yeah, you get fronted the product, you sell it, and then you give your cut back. It's very similar to the streets, just saying. But that's terms. And on my side, obviously on my side, because I'm seeing orders come in, size of orders, how that all work. You see who got the terms, who don't got terms,
right?
Who has the actual capital and who don't to actually buy. Right, so it's a really important thing as you open up. You spend all this money building it. You still got to get product in the door.
And there's like probably like a MOQ or something, right? I mean, I know you're saying now that they're trying to work with the small retailers, so that means that they probably lowered that. But before, people had to sort of like band together to make big buys, right? Because you couldn't afford it.
So MOQ is minimum order quantity. So most companies, and especially in sales and wholesales, have a MOQ for their products. So it's the minimum amount you can buy to even do business. The problem is with the MSOs, that MOQ is bigger, right? So the independent retailers wouldn't be able to afford, or it's too much product for them to get through in a certain amount of time.
Right, because their store is just not moving it like that.
Yeah, so most companies have MOQs, but what like I said, good about in this state and some of the ways the industry's been set up here is the MSOs are actually lowering or getting rid of their MOQs for a lot of these shops. They might go down to one case as their MOQ, where normally they're not. So that's yet again trying to get these independent retailers up and running.
Tell me this: do you feel like, from a business perspective, working at an MSO, that's more work for them? Because there's a reason why MOQs are in place, right?
Yeah. Well, look at it. Like if we look at Jersey right now, I think it's, let's say, 47 dispensaries in the state. Yeah. You take the six major MSOs and their 3 each, that's 18, and then you have the rest, right? So, but when you're ordering from an MSO, they're holding 3 dispensaries, and you're only dealing with one wholesale person. So I make an order with you, you make an order with me, and I covered 3 dispensaries. If you got this major MSOs in the state, you already got 18 dispensaries handled just from that. Yep. The other side of that is the other 25 people in person, or that you're dealing with, because the independent retailers are all ones, right? So I got to deal with you, get an order, and you going down the line, and the order quantities are smaller. So you're doing more work to sell less product as a wholesaler, right? Yeah. But you got to we have to create a good industry here in the state so that, one, customers get what they want, there's diversity of product in the market, and independent retailers can actually get open. The one good thing is the cap on the MSOs for how many dispensaries they can have. The MSOs are capped at 3. So
in New Jersey.
In New Jersey, yet again.
Okay.
So that means the only way these MSOs are going to make money is by wholesaling product. They make what they make in their stores, they're doing fine. Yep. But that part that gets them over the line is wholesaling. So wholesaling is incredibly important to the MSOs. So it is in their best interest to get their products into all of these 40-something retailers, even if it is more work. And as the market in New Jersey grows and gets stronger, hopefully the sales volume and need for those products for the wholesalers increases too. So, whether you like the independent stores, the MSOs, you're buying the cheaper, more value products, or you're going all the way to like live rosin, the market actually needs all of it. It's kind of like a symbiosis has going on, where even if you're buying from the independent retailer, someone's growing, making that, distributing that, and that's how everybody makes money. Right. As long as you handle your business right, handle your money right, but you also got to be good on your deals. A lot of cats is doing bad deals, doing bad business, and not allowing for their business to prosper because of the stuff they're doing already.
Yeah. Speaking of that, the cap, it's sort of like Oprah right now. Everybody get a license. You get a license. You get a license. You on YouTube get a license.
Yeah. The state is out there right now. Handing
Woo!
They just did that big push. Got a whole bunch of annuals through in July.
What is gonna happen, Corey? What do you think? Like, honestly, and I know people hate us for this talk, but it is what it is, right? There's winners and there's losers.
Yeah.
And not everyone is going to make it to the finish line. And I don't even mean the finish line like opening their stores. That's going to happen too. Like some are just not going to open. But I mean like actually opening and not hitting these crazy numbers that people think they're going to hit. Like, what do you think is going to be the downfall? Like, really, really think through this. Because I want to put it out there so that people can then say, okay, if that's potentially going to be a vulnerability point, let me work on it.
So the main thing that's probably going to hurt a lot of these retailers is something they've already decided to do, which is what promises did you make to the city and municipality that you're in, and how much does that cost you, right? 'Cause that could be the difference of being breaking even or going negative. Like if you made deals where you're going to have a certain amount of cops in the building, and cops are expensive. If you let alone if it's an off-duty cop. Is it regular security? Is it armed security?
I wasn't even think you went totally left with it, but you're 1,000% right. I didn't even think about that.
So you might have sold your soul just trying to get the license to the municipality, right? Now we're not even talking about money from anyone else.
People were saying they were so desperate. They're like, and they'll make
every
a recommendation.
Tuesday I'm gonna walk the chairman's dog 2 times, right, with a police escort. Like they were promising all types of shit.
Anything they wanted.
Yeah, and it was like, yo,
can you guys do this? And they're like, yep, we'll make the change.
Do it. We'll make it. And it's like, yo, you just added $100,000 to your operating budget.
Yes.
In this meeting, just trying to, they was on the ledge about saying yes, and you just gave it all up to get the license, which is, you had to do what you had to do, but you just added $100,000 to your jacket. So so that's a big part of it. And then the other part is marketing. You got to market. You got to put it out there. You got to put it out there before your store even opens. Like we're to some extent documenting that process, doing this podcast. Basically. We're documenting it obviously on all our socials and things like that. We're doing different stuff. We got community events coming up. Like you got to do that ahead of time, and that will at least get you a healthy start so you're not in a hole from the get-go. Some of y'all are paying attention. I see a couple of y'all copying. But it's cool. That's what's up.
Listen, I'm here to inspire. When you have the sauce, you have the sauce, right? Be inspired. You need that in life.
It's good because everybody can make money. There is enough money for everybody to make money.
There is. There's a lot of opportunity. I think what I want to see though is more innovation. Like, yeah, it's cute to copy or get inspired, but like, bring something new. This is a brand new industry. This is incredible. Like when tech boomed, like this is what's happening here. I know that the West Coast happened, but the thing is that the East Coast didn't. So without the whole United States like really booming, like everybody got the trap booming, we won't really know. And now we're going to really build something and people need to start bringing their creativity.
Yeah. Shout out to Hainer who they rented out the whole like VIP at a restaurant in Jersey City.
Where?
I forget the spot. You know the spot's better than me. But, he
For what?
That's how he was feeling, he said.
Well, that was his thing, party promoting, right?
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying.
So shout out to Zena Dispensary.
There's so many things that we can do out here. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm I'm just ready to see people bring it to the table and stop wanting to be like, everybody get a license. Like, there's so many other things that you could do.
Yeah.
Go figure out how to get a bag.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus. All right. What do I got?
You tell me.
Oh, so we were supposed to talk about, well, you told me how you think that they're going to make mistakes. So spending too much money on the cop thing, yes. And for those of you who've never hired off-duty cops, like, they're not cheap. So I don't know why everybody thought they should just say surrender to, like, yes, we're going to pay for these things. It's not sustainable. It has to make sense, right? You're trying to open a business in a city that, and this is for any city. I'm not talking about Jersey City, any city. You want to open the business in a city, and that money that you make will then get taxed and go back to the city. Right? I'm not even talking about on a state level, because there on the state level, you don't necessarily see it tremendously. But on a local level, you can really see the impact that your business is bringing to the local community, especially if it's contributing a lot of money.
Yep.
I read that Eatontown had made $250,000 from the one dispensary in their city.
Yeah.
That was, they made more money in that dispensary
And
from taxes,
the taxes from the dispensary
than municipal like court fees and tickets
Yep.
and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So the adverse things that we're doing to people, like giving them parking tickets, and listen, there's rules in life, so if you have to get a parking ticket, you get a parking ticket. But those things that are sort of like bad are making, you don't have to worry about doing them as much because the dispensary is giving you the tax funds that you need.
Yeah. Down with police quotas, up with cannabis.
It's a no fucking brainer.
Yeah, it's money in cannabis, and trust me, your municipalities and politicians are getting a cut too.
Yeah, everybody want to be in it.
That's a fact.
Everybody want to be down. Well, ultimately, if you put too much of that money into silly operating costs, like super duper extra security with a bunch of cops around, which is really not necessary, with all these extra expenses, then yeah, you're not going to do as well, and you're going to spend most of your money in taxes, and you're going to spend most of your money in overhead, and then you're not going to be a very profitable business.
Yeah. So you got to get people there the first time, and then you got to give a good experience and buying experience to get them to come back and to stay. So, it's about getting your cut of the market and maintaining that percentage of the market. And, obviously always fighting to add to it, to grow it. But you got to get your cut, and you got to hold on to it.
But that's the second piece of it, what you said, is the marketing. Because if you get them in one time, you got to do something. You got to have an experience so that they continue to come back.
Yeah.
And that takes some work. That's not just like, hey, I have a license. Like, now you have to manage people. Right? Like, you have to manage people. You have to set a standard and a tone for your work environment. How do you want your bud tenders to interact with people? What do you want them to say to people, introduce people? Like, that's a whole culture that you have to now create.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think a lot of people have a hard time managing people, right? It's not like, especially when you work in a more of like a big factory setting, it's one thing to be the best of the workers. That doesn't mean you're ready to be the leader of the workers. You could be the best of something and not be the leader of it. And a lot of times people end up becoming the leader of something because they were the best of the level lower. But now they're not prepared to actually lead people, to manage people, to give up that friendship aspect of it, to be, so there's a lot to that. And I fear that a lot of people opening up these dispensaries have never really managed people before.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, so that's going to be the interesting part because, bud tenders aren't far off from bartenders. You ever notice like bartenders jump around from location to location, work this, or they work at more than one bar?
Yep.
So like all of them know each other. Like they got the bartender like only spots that people go to, the late night bars and stuff where they all meet at. Bud tenders aren't much different. Every bud tender has worked at another dispensary. And it's only going to get worse as more dispensaries open, obviously, especially as more open in different areas of the state so that people aren't traveling and they have a choice.
Right.
And they're going to be able to talk to somebody else. They'll be like, yo, don't go to this dispensary if you're looking for work. They don't treat this person like that. And then there's always Reddit. Reddit holds king still. So that's going to be a big part of, like, how do you manage people? Can you manage people? Yeah. How you also treat your employees to get them to stay, right?
And cannabis in general has a high turnover rate, right? Like, that's what you've seen at MSOs. They have high turnover.
Yeah, it's a very high turnover rate just because of the randomness of employees.
That was great. I'm really high.
The different backgrounds of the employees. So, like, it's different than other things. Like, if you're working in a certain kind of store, the person working in that store has an understanding of, like, wants to be there, something like that. Everybody smokes weed. So there's no fusion automatically of your employees sometimes. So how do you deal with that? Do you know how to deal with conflicts? And you get into all this different stuff. Yeah. And these employees jump around. You know, the bud tenders jump around from dispensary to dispensary working. And now you have a situation where your rep could be getting tarnished from the employee side. Yep. Employees are customers too. And you don't even know it.
Yep. And really, you work for them. Right?
That's a fact.
So, and some people have not been in business before, and that's going to be a learning lesson for them. And the dispensary is a bad place to have that learning lesson.
Or they just, vote themselves into the union, to the UFCW, and then you're not going to have a choice.
And then that's a whole nother sort of business aspect that a lot of people don't have experience with. A lot of people don't have experience with the union, whether that be from managing people in the union as, like, someone not in the union, or being in the union.
Yeah, I'm definitely seeing that on the MSO side, where it's a lot of people that are in they don't have a choice on being in the union. The employees are in it.
Right.
So a new employee comes on and they've never been in a union before, right? And how things move and how things happen in a union and what representation is and grievance policies and all this different stuff. Yep. Shout out to my dude Tom from the UFCW. He's the one that manages all the union for all the in the state for weed. But so you get into that where the employees don't even understand what it is to be in a union, let alone the management, which, like I said, a lot of times people get promoted up within it. So all they know is working in the union. They don't know about being a manager on the other side, not in the union. Right. So it just becomes a shit show. So, you have to have experience or do research on these things, or at least, if you're about to own a retail establishment, you need to hire a store manager that's worked in another dispensary in a union environment to understand that, or in a dispensary in general to understand how to deal with the diaspora of people that could be your employees. Yep. It's also the vibe thing, because when we were designing our dispensary, and a big part of everything you were doing was how to control and make a vibe in the dispensary. Yes. But the other part about that is the people managing that vibe are your employees. Yeah. Yep. So, like, if you got this, soul sister earthy vibe in the store, you got Jill Scott playing in the background while people get products, and you got people, your employees is dressed like punk rock or looking crazy, or got an attitude, or just don't have that warm, earthy Jill Scott kind of feel. Now the vibe is not completed, and you might start losing sales off of that. So definitely important.
It's the whole package.
Yeah,
people don't
really
get it. It is the whole package. Yep. You have to create a culture and your brand's voice, and that voice is voiced through everything, through the people that work for you, that talk to the customer base, from what you hear when you're in the space to what you feel when you're in the space. Like, for me, when people go into sweat, they always tell me that, like, when they walk in, they immediately feel calm, and it feels like very warm. I mean, it literally is warm because we have infrared saunas, but it feels like comforting, like if you're outside and there's chaos and then you go in and it's like, that's what you want to do for people when they come into your place. Yeah.
No, yeah, I think you just have to build a full experience, or, go the MSO route. A lot of MSOs are made, the vibe is lacking. It's just straight up, come in, buy your stuff, get out, thank you. It's a fair transaction. Right? Like, you're not looking for a vibe going into CVS or Walgreens or something like that.
You got a point.
So some of these dispensaries are set up where it's like, fam, this is a convenience store of cannabis. Please come buy your shit and have a nice day. Right? Don't hang around. Don't talk with us. We ain't trying to kick it. There's no vibe up in here. Homie, get out. So.
Yo, watching some of the MSOs try to gain personality in the state right now is the most hilarious transition to watch.
Mm-hmm.
I ain't gonna say no names, but there's one near my crib. And when I first started going there, it was super sterile.
Yeah.
Like everything, white walls, very medical looking. And then like they grow, like a few months goes by, and then they have like this big grass thing. The
motif.
Yes.
Yeah, the grass motif.
Of Jersey, the imprint of Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
And then I keep going, and like now there's some things on the wall, and now they have a whole cookies thing, and I'm like, oh, I see you trying to gain some personality.
Yeah. So, all of it is going to be interesting to see the differences across dispensaries in the state.
Wait.
You have like I said, the CVS, Walgreens. You're gonna have the super a person that owned a smoke shop, or a plant store before, and now they got that super earthy vibe. Yep. Some are going to be looking like just straight stoner havens. Yep. And some are going to blend into their community. So it's just, it really is going to be interesting how that all plays out across the state as they open up. It seems like every week one is opening in Jersey. So, yeah.
I can't wait. I'm so excited because let me tell you, like going into a place that somebody like makes to be a vibe and like really thinks things through is such a wonderful experience to like go to. There's one in California. The girl's name that owns it, I think, is Kika. And it's on Crenshaw. I forget the name of it, but when you walk into it, it looks like a bodega.
Yeah.
It's so fucking dope. Like when I walked in there, I was just like, I was already happy to buy weed, but because it just was such a vibe, like it was so thought out, and I was like, I'm really excited to buy weed in here.
Yeah, no, that's dope. Yeah, like there's ones in Colorado that like look like a luxury hunting lodge. Like
Really?
for real. I think when I showed you pictures of like best dispensaries, like there was one that's like, looks like wood floors, like fur and like it looks like a luxurious hunting lodge of buying. And then you see the ones that are super like, they basically look like jewelry stores, right? Like the ones that are super luxe with the chandeliers and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, on the West Coast where obviously this has been going on a lot longer, people have got funky with the different dispensaries. So it'll be cool to see that growth and maturity happen to our market as well.
And I want to see what it looks like here because, like, the East is different, So, like, I'm interested to see the creativity, like, what we come up with. Like, even Kaz saying, like,
I was about to say Con Bud, the way he got the whole setup is dope.
That's fire.
Yeah, so that's someone that understands their niche, has already built the brand doing it. Yep. So that's that pre-made marketing we're talking about. And then now is going to have a certain vibe and going to attract a certain customer. That's, if you're into that, is going to keep coming back. Yep. So that's dope.
Yeah, it's going to be really cool to see. Jalen, are we on You Don't Know Jack? You Don't Know Jack.
What up, though?
All right, let's see. What do we have? Oh, my God. Him with the chat GPT.
Oh, he sent you a bunch of stuff?
Of course. All right. Damn, I should have sifted through some of these. All right. This is a good question because I think that this can maybe be associated with hemp. Maybe you could teach me something. Could cannabis be used to create eco-friendly building materials or textiles?
Hemp could. I don't know.
I thought that.
Yeah, hemp could. But
what can hemp make?
Oh, hemp is for everything. Hemp fabrics for clothing, hemp paper. And then same, like you said, hemp textiles. Hemp literally is like a miracle plant. Like has a shitload of uses, but then also is basically a little brother of cannabis. So
why can't cannabis do it too?
I would just say because of the way we sell it. We're selling cannabis as this, basically as a food grade product, with the regulations. So you're trying to get it to a specific standard. And part of getting to the standard is a whole lot of biomass waste. Now, maybe someone makes a deal where they can take that biomass waste, but according to every state's regulations, you have to what's called render it unusable. So that means I can't even once I harvest the plant and cut the bud off of it, I can't give you that now and say, hey, take this stem and do your thing. According to, which, is scientifically possible, you do a tissue culture off of it and now you can grow cannabis. Well, if they don't want you growing at home, that's why you have to render it unusable. So that's the industry itself will not let that happen in cannabis. Is the real answer.
That's interesting. So it just gets tossed, but in all reality, see what I did there? Tossed. But in all reality, you could really use that for the same function that they use hemp, but we just don't give it away?
Listen, I am not a biology major.
Wow.
I do not know. All I know is that in the cannabis industry, you have to destroy the biomass, the plant matter that you're left with. So that's all the fan leaves when you're trimming it. That's the stems, the root ball that it actually grew during the grow process. Anything that's not bud is getting destroyed, rendered unusable into some kind of biological waste.
What do they do with it after?
It goes landfill or like a compost. Landfill or compost, just like everything else.
Wasting it.
Yeah, but there's mad different rules to how you dispose of stuff. So you have to like hire a specific person that can dispose of this. So I think a lot of it does end up like biological composting. So
they really do a lot for cannabis. Like honestly, like
they be doing some extra shit.
You know when you tell people like you're doing too much?
Yeah.
That's how I feel about how they treat cannabis. Like
so
they don't act nearly this way for alcohol.
Yeah, well, for example, like batteries. It's like if you have a battery at home, you remote anything, you take the battery out, throw it away, get a new battery. In companies, you can't do that. You can't throw away batteries, let alone lithium vape batteries. So you got to go through a whole very costly disposal process to get rid of that, right? Right. So that's why when you go to a dispensary and you get like a disposable or a vape or something, and it doesn't work, whether it's clogged, it's not firing, all the oil sucked into the atomizer already, whatever that is. A lot of times they'll just tell you to keep it. And they'll give you, back whatever. They tell you to keep it because they don't want to pay to destroy it. Mm-hmm. You can destroy it for free at home.
Right.
We got to pay to do that shit. So keep that.
That makes sense.
Just know that if you start returning stuff for the fun, for the free, so you can get them freebies, they do track returns, and it's only going to take a couple before you get red listed.
Yep. Telling you the game. All right, listen. So we are going to be working on an outro. So bear with me because I'm not a fucking podcaster. I'm just a dispensary owner doing a podcast.
Yeah.
And
this is this big stuff. We got an outro.
Corey and I, we're working on it. So we thank you for joining and helping us break the stigma.
Nah, stop. Do it again.
It's too much, right?
Nah, do it again. Yeah, you got to relax. You got to chill.
All right. I got two versions here, actually.
Hold on. Let me get my forehead right. Hot.
All right. I got a cleaner one.
Big outro. Let's go.
Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next Monday at 11 for Coffee and Cannabis.
Peace.
That was good, right?
It was pretty good.
Was it good?
And I like, the best part about it? All I say is peace.
Yes. All right. I just got to, all right. As long as I can catch this is going to be a new one. The other one was too much. All right. You ready? Are we good, Jalen? All right. Thank you for wait. Fuck, I fucked up already.
Oh, you're fired.
All right, hold on. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next week for Higher Thinking with Coffee and Cannabis.
Shout out to all my Earths and Moons. You know what I mean? Oh, my bad.
We didn't get any of that this week, but
yeah.
I love y'all.
All right, peace.